Welcome to the Dementialand Serial Podcast, a story for everyone who knows someone living in or near Dementialand. My name is Suzka, and this is my story. My mother was more confused that day. She had a secret she kept to herself. She was clever. She found ways to hide what was going on inside of her. She thought like a grasshopper. Grasshoppers were quick, vigilant, and one jump ahead of any combative instructions or questions. You could never catch this grasshopper off guard. I knew the workings of this little grasshopper, and I kept my mother's secret. It happens to all people with dementia. All at once, they are rather quiet and thoughtful, a bit inattentive to all the surface goings-on in front of them. Even their smiles don't have the same meaning as before. They're not sure whether they're laughing or crying, and probably not sure that as long as they're doing something to trick and ward off the outside interrogators. When Barber walked into the room, my mother was as blank as driftwood, with hardly a clue who this strange woman was and why she was standing in front of her. But she had learned, on her own, that it was surprisingly easier to be quiet and nod her head periodically. My mother seemed to know she could leave when she really wanted to, if she was in desperate straits or simply extra confused. Dancing with the gypsies in her head for sure would take pity on her and take her away to the music only heard by adventuring explorers. Music that my mother danced to 60 years ago on New Year's Eve when she met the father of the children she now can't remember. Well, we'll talk about the gypsies later. For now, we have to deal with Barbara. Barbara quietly spread around her hellos as if she was a funeral director at a wake, over-emoting every gesture. She winked in my direction, acknowledging my presence, and walked over to my mother. The oblivious visitors snubbed the crowd of ballooned airheads. Their stretched smiles leaned forward closer to the visitor in an attempt to reverse the seriousness in the room. They tried to distract old pictures and how things were out of the lady's head. Flo and Vida, with the other airheads, looked at the visitor out of their fixed eyes. One of the ballooned airheads, floating just inches away from where my mother was sitting, was not quite sure about this dramatic visitor.
Oh, Mama, who is this foreign intruder? And what kind of attitude is she wearing? It's permeating the air in this room, and it is affecting my vibe. This lady is going to make us all work way too hard. Look at the way she's carrying on. She's totally avoiding my presence. Oh, Lordy, we in big trouble today, y'all.
Whoa. Calm down. Ladies, let's give Violet's visitor a chance here.
Let's not be hasty in our judgment. Let's remember why we're here.
Okay, girlfriend. But if she shoves me aside with that big old arm she's waving around the room, I might have to do something to her in a very harmful way. I don't want to, but I can sure see it coming. If she screws up the mojo we got going on in this room, I might not be able to control myself.
Relax, Flo. Have a little faith. She doesn't need to see all your charms on her first visit. Let's see what she has to say.
Well, she better be nice to Violet and not interrogate the poor thing. If this lady confuses Violet, I will never forgive you.
Just be nice. Smile and wave to get her attention.
I ain't doing no waving. No, ma'am. I ain't getting in her way. It'd be like a suicide mission. I'm staying right here next to Miss Violet.
My mother appeared more cautious with her words. She was accustomed to questions, and tricky visitors would spring on her, especially the silly questions. Such a waste of time, she thought, looking for suitable answers to questions that would take her back to flat places where girdles are required and the words stay in their proper order. Violet kept her fingers busy, fiddling with small glass crystals in her lap. A thin metal chain kept them in line, preventing them from rolling away. The chain's end was attached to a metal coin that led to a bangle of a tiny tortured man. Violet had no idea what that was about. She just liked playing with the crystals. It kept her fingers happy. "Mom, this is Barbara. She came to visit you." Barbara mumbled a few words to me, as if my mother wasn't present in the room. Mom sat in her wheelchair like a grasshopper, watching her visitor carefully. She put all the physical features of her visitor in her head, hoping to find a match, but her thoughts were impatient.
"Barbara. Do I know a Barbara? Barbara. Or did you say Barber? Barber? Oh, God in heaven, the woman's a barber?"
Violet slowed down like a train approaching its last station. Seriousness grew inside of her. She was fully aware of the workings of barbers. They could leave you close to baldness if you let them. Barbers had tools, all types of instruments up their sleeves. They had clippers. Some ran on automatic, and if not in the hands of an experienced barber, they could mow over your head relentlessly, cutting every hair in its path. Violet stared at the barber Barbara. Her eyes were on their knees, pleading.
"I beg of you, don't chop off my hair. I like my hair."
Violet squinted her brain tightly in place. She cannot wander. She must stay here and keep both her eyes on the barber Barbara. Violet, deep in thought and deep in her stare, worried about the other possibilities. Maybe this barber Barbara will cut into her head, taking out stuff and replacing them with events that never happened. Oh, how barbaric. And what kind of a woman is this? Has this woman no shame? The visiting woman, with an undisclosed profession, squatted down, spreading her cherub legs apart. She carefully wobbled her balance using the handles of my mother's wheelchair. The barber's eyes squinted. One eyebrow moved up, leaving its twin a bit confused. Barbara's face was questioning her own expression. Are we sad? Are we happy? What's going on here? A face needs to know what to do. She looked all about my mother like a detective at a crime scene, putting a stare on this little grasshopper, comparing her to a pictured images she had in her mind's hand. Old pictures taken from a time when they first met years ago, for God's sake, before my mother was ever confused. Barbara was looking for the French twist, the pearl necklace, and the Italian shoes. Barbara held on to the past very tightly. She lived in old albums and carried them with her wherever she went. She could not see what was in front of her. She could only see what wasn't there. Violet stood tall in her wheelchair. Her balloon friends were near, protecting her the best they could under these circumstances. Flo scooted closer to get to Violet, to show her support.
Oh, stay calm, Miss Violet. We got your back, baby doll. We aren't going anywhere. This lady Barber don't intimidate me none. No. She'll have to deal with me first before she even thinks about touching her hair on that pretty little head of yours.
My mother kept squinting her brain. She cautiously lifted her arm as not to cause any attention. Nonchalantly, she stretched her hand the back of her head, making sure everything was just as she remembered. Her fingers shook robustly and then settled in the fine curls in the nape of her neck. "Ah, thank you, Jesus," she whispered to herself. Stars flashed in her eyes. She blinked. All worries were lost in her face. She locked her eyes, backed into herself, satisfied.
This is the Dementialand edition, interviewing Flo and Vida, who work in Dementialand. Hello, ladies. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you two airheads ended up in Dementialand?
I was picked up by Suzka at my agent location. I was a little hesitant at first, but Vida, she convinced me. I was told it was a desperate situation, and it was. Honey, I just call it like it is. I'm upfront about everything. I'm a singer. Did I tell you I was a singer?
We were both picked up that day. My name is Vida. I'm a fashionista. I love Prada and everything vascular. We were hired to tailor the attitude of incoming visitors to Dementialand. Visitors forget. Violet lost her memory, not her mind. Everyone here prefers to live in the moment. This is a happy place, and we would like to keep it that way.
Oh, did I mention I was a singer? You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.